The Bloodyflixx, I'm your host Pete.
And I'm Kyle, and we talk about all things bloody.
And today we're going to review the movie
Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022.
Netflix special. Alright, please like, subscribe, help our channel grow. So anyway, Netflix, Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out midnight, Friday night. There's been a lot of reviews on it.
This is one of those movies where you're either going to love it or hate it, and we're going to give you our opinion on whether we liked it or not.
Yeah, there's been a lot up and down. Old school hates it. The new school loves it. Not a lot of in between. Not a lot in between. So, why don't you take us through the movie?
Well, this is about the new generation of youngsters. This Gen Z, I believe, is what they're called. They're going to go by the small town of Harlow, Texas, where Leatherface lives, and make it a nice, safe, lovable place.
Yeah, I know that part irritates you.
A little bit.
You watched it twice. I watched it twice. Yeah, the young kids come to town with their... I thought it was a Tesla, but is that a Tesla? It's not a Tesla, is it?
Yeah.
Is it Tesla?
Yeah, because I think the guy even...
The fancy Tesla?
Yeah, one of the guys... the Richter, the gun guy, I think says something about it being a Tesla. I don't know.
It's a badass car. It makes me want to have a car that I could just drive anywhere. I'm sorry, but after that show, I looked at my wife and I said, I want a Tesla now. Because I just want to be able to go to work and just go.
Yeah.
Sorry, but they're starting to look really appealing at this time. But anyway.
And you can have one for about $100,000 too.
Yeah, that was the good Tesla. The other Tesla looks like duck lips. Because it's got that dull grill on it. I don't want to drive a car with duck lips around. Anyway. Yeah, the kids come to town. I wasn't sure if I liked the kids at the beginning. I actually didn't mind them, and I liked them better the second time I watched it. You did not like the kids. Oh, the young people.
Lila, the girl that survived the school shooting, I liked her character. I liked Richter, the guy that was their contractor. Mel, her... After watching it the second time, I just couldn't stand her even more. I wish she would have died, like, right off the bat. I wish, actually, Victor would have just shot her right then and there for just kind of running her mouth. But we know that that's how kids today talk, so...
That's... Okay, we debated this earlier. I like it because it is more how the new generation thinks. I have daughters that age that... They, gun free, there should be violence free, the world should be at peace and all that stuff, anti-gun and all that stuff. So I like the fact that they brought that characters in, because they have to appeal to a new audience, but yet keep the old one. That's where it's impossible to do, because you have old school like us, that is old school horror, that absolutely want it like it was in the olden days, but you have to appeal to the new kids. You can't appeal to a new generation if you don't have anybody they can relate to.
Well, my thing is... Nowadays, if you talk to somebody like that, we live in a world where anybody would just pull out a gun and shoot you for saying something like that, and that's why it's like just kind of.
I
know that's how people talk, but it's like we live in a world today where you could get shot for saying what she said, and.
But some people actually would say that anyway because they feel like they could say anything. Yes. So that's what makes it believable. Like those characters, for me, that's what modern day is. Modern day is. You can say what you want without having repercussions because you want everybody to believe what you believe. And it doesn't matter if they believe anything. So I like the new generation. So that's a little difference between us. So you weren't too hip on the new crew. I was okay with them. I liked it better the second one. All the characters were okay. Yeah, the one girl they made her a little over top, but a lot of kids are like that. I mean, not kids, but younger generation are like that. So they go to this town. They buy the town. They buy the whole town to develop it or sell it to be developed to have.
Well, they think they bought all of it.
Right. So they supposedly bought this whole town and bringing a bus full of people, younger people, to, I guess, in under 30s, under the 30, 20 to 35. I don't know, but to buy the town or buy property in the town to develop it into what? They really didn't specify, but they applied like a safe haven to a new town where everybody loves each other and everybody's free and, you know...
Like a cult.
It smells like roses.
Like a cult. That's what the Richter said. Like a cult. When they were explaining the thing, he goes, so a cult. No.
That's a cult.
Yeah, it's a cult.
not to offend you, but I offended you. But even though I didn't mean to offend you, but I still offended you. But I didn't offend you.
Yeah.
It's like... But yeah, so... And that's the thing. They were a chef.
That's what they
have all this. I know they're rich. Okay, it's implied they're rich. Obviously, they got this fancy Tesla car. And they're rich. I don't know how much money you got to buy a town, but it takes a long time to develop that much money to buy a town. That was a big problem with you.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of those moments where I went, what? Mm-hmm. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but do we watch horror movies for a lot of sense?
No.
What do we watch them for?
The kills.
And what else?
TNA.
It's about all we watch them for. But you gotta have a plot nowadays. This one actually had one, so at least I give them credit for that. It wasn't the worst plot. We've seen have worse plots. But anyway, so so they have deeds to all the houses except for what happens?
The house that Leatherface is staying at, they say they have the deed to come to find out they don't. And they get the old woman that lives there, Leatherface's caretaker, thrown out, and while she's getting thrown out, she has a heart attack, basically, and dies, and that's what triggers Leatherface to go on his massacre.
Well, yeah, it was an orphanage.
Yeah, the orphanage.
And this is another part we debated. You prefer that they did what in the movie?
I think they should have stumbled across him at their house, because then, that would make more sense, because they don't really give you a backstory of how he got to the orphanage.
Sure.
Which we know, it's supposed to be 50 years later, the main Sawyer family, of course, they'd be all dead, and Leatherface would be left, but you would think he would be attached to the house, but then after you kind of said maybe he...
Set him straight.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say set him straight. But
okay,
you gave me a backstory that I could agree with.
Okay, so. Here's my backstory. The backstory that I was thinking about after I watched the second time, okay? They're in an orphanage with a caretaker, which I thought was his mom at first. I'm like, wait a minute, his mother wasn't in the original. And they're playing this is the original Leatherface from 1974, not the other movies. So if that's the case, his mother would be dead and there's no mother in that movie. So I was kind of confused. So at first I thought the mother may be estranged from the husband. That's why that mother wasn't around. And then that mother ran the orphanage where he was brought up at first. Because if you zoom in at the picture, I didn't notice it the first time, but when they first showed the picture, there's a big, tall figure in the back with the face kind of scratched out. Is actually Leatherface in the orphanage. I didn't catch it till the second time I watched it.
And it said like 1975, so it would have been a year after the original movie took place.
Yeah, which makes no sense there. But so I figured this. Okay, she ends up being the caretaker. That she took care of Leatherface before he went psycho at the orphanage. Leatherface got put into the house with the cannibal killers. Became the psychotic killer because he had those tendencies anyway. When Sally escapes, the law comes after him. She somehow rescues him, brings him to the orphanage where he had his younger days in, and keeps him at bay so he wouldn't kill because he hides a chainsaw on the wall. He's obviously not killing people anymore, as we know of. So for almost 50 years, the law can't find him because he's being a good boy. I think she kept him at bay because he was like a mom. She was like a mom to him. Because she tells him to go, when she's first dealing with the young kids, he comes to the stairs. The original Leatherface would have just started killing everybody. Okay. She said, go back to your room, and he listened. So there was something there out of respect. And the fact that when she dies, how hard he takes it. And then his Leatherface killer spree starts again. So that's how I took it. That's why he was able to survive all those years at bay, and then once she died, he was released back when the psycho tendencies that he does, because, that was pretty cool, but I don't know, I mean, the premise, they get to the house, they kick the police kick the mom out, and then you go to the van. Why did they have a van in that town? It's like the only police vehicle they have. It was kind of weird, did you notice that? That they have an old police van.
Yeah, because there's like, call an ambulance. We are the ambulance.
You could tell this was a low-budget movie because they had an abandoned town that they used, or props, or like a prop town. They had a crappy van, They probably rented the Lexus, or not the Lexus, but they probably rented the Tesla. And the bus was old. Pretty nice on the inside for a party bus. But there was a whole lot of, like, stuff. A cornfield and an old red combine. That's pretty much all the props there was, really. Oh, and the house that Sally was in, which was any rundown farmhouse, which actually looked more like the original house anyway, which was really weird. Like she moved in the original house, but...
Yeah, that's what I thought when they showed it. I'm like, was she moving the original house?
Yeah, I'm like, what the heck? I'm messed up in the head. I'm going to move in the house where they almost killed me. I don't know, but... Anyway, so they kick out the I thought it was the mom, the caretaker, and Leatherface, who you didn't know was Leatherface at the time, come down, and he picks her up, and they go out to the van. And he's listening. He takes him out to the van. They're going to take him to the hospital. They take him to the hospital. And then along the way, unfortunately, she passes away. And what does she whisper to him?
Oh, stay out of my room. That's what she says.
Yeah, which was really weird.
Be a good boy and stay out of my room.
Yeah, which makes me want to know what is in her room.
The chainsaw.
That wasn't her room. That was his room, wasn't it?
No, that was her room because that was...
She hid it then. Yeah, I didn't catch that. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. I'm like, what is in the room? Okay, so yeah, that one over my head. So yeah, so in the van, and then what happens when Mama dies?
The one police officer is like trying to, tell him, hey, she's, the Leatherface, she's dead, and just knock it off, and he grabs his arm and breaks it, and snaps it in half, and uses the bone from his arm.
Right here, the two bones sticking out.
And just jams it into his throat. And then, as they're kind of fighting, the one police officer shoots the other officer in the neck, too. And then
because he had his gun on here. Yeah. And when Leatherface saw the gun, he snaps the arm. And then when the two bones stab the neck, and as he goes to shoot, it turns his gun and shoots through the van and hits the other officer driving in the neck.
And then they crash. And then Leatherface kills the other two people that are in the van, and then cuts his mother's face off, puts it on, and goes back home to take care of the rest of the new kids on the block.
It wasn't the new kids. He was after the two main girls. He was after the four originals that kicked him out of the house. He had a purpose. He locked onto the two girls and was going to kill them. He wasn't going to kill the people in the bus or the other people in the town that we think. He wanted the two girls. They just kind of led them to everybody else. So if someone's after somebody, don't get near them. Just leave immediately. But the van scene was cool because not only was he broke the two bones, shoved through his neck, he got the officer killed. The blonde survives. Dante's girlfriend.
Well, at first
goes with the police to take because she's upset because of the mother's having breathing issues. When they crash, well, she ends up surviving. She's alive, and she looks in the mirror and sees Leatherface, doing something to his mom on the field. You can tell he's cutting something with glass. We know it's the face, but if you've never seen the movie before, I mean, you would know, what is he doing? He's cutting the face off, obviously. But then the cop wakes up. The cop driver wakes up, and he knows when he has to make noise. She's like, oh, be quiet, be quiet. And the funny part is, like, that was kind of funny, is that Leatherface appears at the window, sees the cop still alive, and she turns her head. And as she's turning, she's like trying to be still, but she's doing this. It's so obvious she's not dead. Like, it's almost like Leatherface knew, but was playing games with her. Because he smashes the face with the air tank that kills the cop, and then goes to the other side. She thinks she's all okay, and then he appears on her side and then takes her out. So, good kills. The van scene had 3 cool kills in it. You get to see the resurrection of Leatherface. He cuts off his mom's face and wears it, holds it up to the sun, and wears it, he has worn a female mask before in other movies, so they're kind of bringing that to life, which is kind of cool. We've saw questions where, how does he keep the mask on?
And if you watch when he cuts it off her body, he cuts kind of around the ears too. So when he puts it on, you actually see him stretch her ears over his ears, and that kind of keeps it on. And also, I would think with all that blood caked on his face, it was kind of like glue, and it stuck to his face.
Yeah, because he did have the ear thing. I saw that because I was kind of like, okay. The other one had strings originally, But a lot of fighting with the mask stay on. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to see. I mean, does it stay on?
Is that a tortilla?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's my tortilla face. Okay, it doesn't stay on. Nah, it doesn't stay on. But that was one of the questions we brought up. No, face smells like tortilla. You bite?
No thanks.
Okay. Anyway,
I don't know where it's been.
this has been in my mouth. But the whole thing is that. So anyway, after they kill the van, they bring back a certain character that you did not like.
Yeah, this is one of my dislikes. I get why they brought Sally back from the first movie, original movie, so it would tie into, this being a legacy sequel. My problem is I don't believe that she would have became a Texas Ranger. If you've watched the original one, at the end you can tell she's kind of out of her mind, and I just don't buy that she, after that whole ordeal she went through, that she would become a Texas Ranger. I feel she would have been in like a mental hospital.
Yeah, because she was very,
But I mean, also I feel that she was kind of a wasted character, especially for what they did with her. I mean, she only was in the movie maybe 10 minutes. So, like I said, that's one of my big gripes with her.
I actually didn't mind her. I didn't think I would like it at all. I actually did not mind her character. I kind of like the fact that, okay, like you said, she was mentally nuts after the first one in '74. She jumps through the window, escapes. But in this movie, she says that if you do not face him, he will destroy you for the rest of your life, pretty much. I don't know always what she said. If that's true, then maybe after she got over her hysteria of being, almost killed, she regrouped herself and wanted to face her fear and became a ranger to hunt him down. Unfortunately, with a mask, you can't hunt him down. And if he has a safe haven of the orphanage, and she kept him at bay where he didn't kill anybody, you would never find him. So she wasted her whole life trying to pretty much face her fear. So that is some theories that, but that's the theory that I kind of put in my head, with the only plausible reason why she would want to do that versus hide from the world. She's trying to face her fear. She told the one girl at the end, don't run. So, but they did do a few rip-offs. There are a few memes out there in the world related to a certain Halloween movie, recent Halloween movie or movies. Who she remind you of?
Laurie Strode.
Yeah.
And the one scene kind of reminds me of Dr. Sartain in Halloween 2018. Say something. Say my name. Do you remember me?
Yeah, and then what's the other one remind you of? The kill scene?
Oh, yeah, when he picks him up with the chainsaw and is kind of holding him up over his head. Yeah, I think Michael Myers did that with a Halligan tool to a bunch of firemen.
Halloween Kills, yeah. So, rip off! Even though those were scenes that right away I thought, okay, they're jumping on the bandwagon of they're using what the new Halloween movies are doing to get into a newer generation, bring things alive.
Like they say in Scream, a requel.
Yeah. But the chainsaw kill was cool. Lifting her up with the chainsaw was cool. The part that she survived after that is completely stupid.
Yeah, there's no way in hell she would have lived through that. I'm sorry. But...
No. I could buy the getting sliced in the face. With Dante getting sliced in the face, I could buy that. Him surviving for a little bit, but getting the chainsaw through the gut and him just unloading on it. But then again, people have got cut in half and have actually survived. So, I mean, people have had, stuff overseas in the military that have actually blown parts away and survived. So, very unlikely, but I don't know. But yeah, a lot of ripoffs. But I think that didn't bother me at all. I liked her character. It didn't bother me. She comes back, rolling back in town to save the day. Before that, there's another good old boy that's not in a cult we know. He doesn't believe in cults. That I wasn't sure if I liked his character. Because in the opening scene, my thing with trucks. I have an issue with big guys with big trucks. Most of them drive like a-holes. And he goes pulling her out in a big old gas guzzle truck with diesel. Because we all know now, anybody that spews that much toxic fumes in the air, does not care about anything.
Yeah, they got 0 Fs.
Yep, we know that now. So if you're out there spewing toxic stuff out of your tailpipe, you just don't care. According to Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022. But I see, I like that character. What was his name?
Richter.
I like him. He comes off as an a-hole. Like, he could be... Actually, my first impression was he was one of the family killers. Like, they're going to make him a killer. Like, in the first one, you got the hitchhiker. You got him join the band, you know, and he's like, this is a good knife. I thought he was going to be that version of it. Like, he was going to be somehow involved with the family. And he's going to play the nice guy, but lure them into the... And then kill. Then he find out that he's just a big country boy that's actually trying to do good. And then you find out that not only is he... They kind of like bash him for having a gun in Texas, but they live in Austin.
Yeah.
You're going to be anti-gun, but you're going to live in Texas? They could have had the characters from another state come to Texas. But if you're in Austin, I think Austin still has guns.
Yeah, I would
have stated it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that part I didn't like. I figured they should have said, okay, they're from New York or something, you know, and they bought this, you know, something even better. But the anti-gun thing, and he, of course, he's whipped out his gun right there, he's getting his gas, and, you know, got a cigarette at the pump. It's just like, you just got the whole thing, country thing going on, which is cool. But then they find out that he's actually the contractor they hired.
Yeah.
And Dante feels like an ass because, he was like the actual guy. And what's weird, though, the girl, what's the younger sister's name? Lila, she was in a school shooting, and she survived a school shooting. You see the, in her chest, upper chest, you can see the bullet hole. And they kind of have a bond because even though he's kind of comes off as a jerk, he still has a good side to him. He just wants to do what's right. So they have a little bonding moment where he finds out that she was at a shooting and how hard it was that, you know, for her to survive that, which makes you probably that maybe he was military at one time or something like that because he understood he's into guns and stuff and he has some cool ass guns. He says, have you ever shot a gun? So she picks up a gun, he unloads it, checks it, she goes to shoot it and hits the trigger and freaks out. So they kind of have a little bond. So he's kind of like one of those guys where, like, now I'm thinking, okay, he can't be the killer. What's with this character? He's so up and down. But he wants to do the right thing. So when he kicks out the mom, or when the mom gets kicked out by the police, him and Leatherface are in the van taken away, he steals their keys and says, until you show me the deed that you have the deed to her house and the rightful way, you know, rightfully kicking her out, you're not going anywhere, pretty much. I don't know. I like this character. What'd you think?
Yeah, he was one of the only two characters that I actually liked. Lila, the schoolgirl shooting victim, and then him. Like I said, all the other characters I could care less, and I was actually glad they died. So I wish he would have been the main hero part. Instead of getting killed off like early in the movie.
He was a badass. He could be a legit badass. His kill though made me cringe.
Oh, when he got his leg broke, and then he was still fighting even though he got his leg broke.
Yeah.
Until he got the glass shard to the throat, and then had his head bashed in with Leatherface's hammer.
A lot.
But
anyway, the house scene, yeah, because they have to prove they have the deed, and Dante made a mistake. He doesn't have the deed to the house.
No, they don't own that house.
So they're like, oh, let's go find it, which normally you always end up at a house where the killers are. But in this one, I liked it because the killers have went away in a van. All they know is the mom had died, or the caretaker had died, but they don't know anything else. So they go in the house searching for the deed, and that's when Leatherface comes back, takes out Dante, slices him from here to here, which is a cool kill. I mean, he doesn't kill him, but slices him, we think he's dead. I mean, he gutted his whole mouth. That was pretty cool, something different. He knows the girl's in the house. You can hear everything in old creaky orphanage house, whatever. She hides under a bed. Richter comes in. And so, what the cool thing about it, Leatherface hides behind a door just to surprise Richter. And the scene I liked is that there's a stand-up mirror against the wall in the mom's room. And the girl takes her foot and turns the mirror because Richter comes to the door. He's like, why, what? Because the mirror's moving. And he sees Leatherface. And then Leatherface attacks, so it gives him that split second to kind of like help block or whatever. But as they're fighting, when Leatherface has that mullet and hits him right below the knee and the shin and just breaks his leg, dude, I about come off the couch. I was like, oh, God, that was bad.
You didn't go, shit, or something.
Damn!
Yeah.
No, it was pretty bad. That one got me. I was like, ooh, damn, just broken a bone like that. I don't know if he'd be able to. He probably would have went down after that, but he stayed his ground. He put up a good fight. I don't know if I like the killing part, because they break out a window. You push the Leatherface's window, they break out that with a shard of glass, and you can almost see the look on the girl's face in the bed, like she knows what's going to happen, because Leatherface is looking at the triangle piece of glass, and then gets him in the neck and kills him, which kind of sucked because, like you said, he would have made a great. If they could have found a way for him to survive, like if they didn't kill him off, he could have came back for a second one. It would have been a great addition to a sequel for this one. You know, like he could be like the one that goes after Leatherface, puts up a few. They could have done another movie just with him. I thought he was a good character, but unfortunately, they got to kill a good character
and leave us with the bad ones.
They're not that bad. Just not. You gotta appeal to a new generation is all. I get what they're trying to do, and but anyway, it had been raining, so everybody's on the party bus, which is the weirdest bus ever. Like the first quarter of the bus's seats, the back half's like a boom boom room. Isn't that like the weirdest bus ever?
Yeah.
It's like not a full party bus, but it's not a full bus where you can sit and travel. It's kind of like half and half. So half the people have to dance the whole time they're on the trip. The other people have to sit and they rotate on the trip or whatever. And just like kind of, I mean, you get tired of dancing. Do you like tag someone out that city and it's like, how does the bus work? I don't get it. But anyway, so it's raining for all on the bus. Well, of course the girls escape and enter the bus, and here's your favorite part.
Yeah, the bus massacre. So Leatherface gets on the bus and
a bussacre.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, all the investors pull their phones up and holds it in front of them, and they're like, and the one guy goes, "Try anything, and you're canceled, bro." Well,
I like that because that's what the younger generation would. They wouldn't think that this killing could ever happen, and they record everything every moment, so their phones are out.
And then so
Leatherface has a clue what a cell phone is.
So Leatherface revs up his chainsaw and he basically says "F you" to cancel culture, and he chainsaw cancels all them people. And it was a bloodbath, and it was awesome.
Yeah, you love your bloodbaths.
Oh yeah, even though there was some CGI blood and gore, it was still awesome. I think this is probably my favorite kill in all the Texas Chainsaw movies.
Yeah, you're gonna have CGI nowadays. Let's get used to it. Everything's gonna be CGI. I'm sure it's cheaper to do. I'm guessing because everybody's doing it. I like you made a comment. Did you see this with CGI in the rain where the blows come off? I just assume most of it's CGI anymore. That's why movies just aren't as good. I don't think anymore. But I just expect that. So I don't really. It wasn't bad CGI. You really couldn't tell. I only have a problem with CGI if it's really bad and you can see like the crystal grains in it where you can really see. But I didn't even think about that. I was too busy watching the fun of the bussacre. It was pretty good. There's a lot of kills there. My biggest problem is when you have someone do the first kill, at what point when you have 20 people on a bus do you not bum rush the killer? You're telling me they all could have got him down, got the chainsaw away from him? No, what do?
Just stand there and get killed.
And try to run, don't kill me, don't kill me.
Well, the one girl...
you could all just took him out right there.
But the one girl does finally get past him, and then her stupid ass decides to go out the window instead of going out the door. And then so she's halfway hanging out the window, and he just walks up and cuts her in half, and her body, her legs fall into the bus, and the rest of her falls on the road. It's like, you ran past him. Just run to the door. No, you gotta try to run out a window? I mean...
Yeah, the two sisters, they run behind the bathroom where everybody's getting slaughtered. And what's funny is that you can see there's a girl still holding her cell phone.
Oh,
as the killing's going on in the back, and she's still like this, like, she's not recording, but she won't let go of the freaking cell phone, because God forbid something might be on there, someone might find, because, I dropped the fucking cell phone and be gone. But she's holding a cell phone and she's trying to get to people, and he slice and dice, and And my favorite part of the busticker is you see it from the back up to Leatherface. So you're looking at Leatherface, he's killing people, and he cuts off an arm and he kind of goes like this and just chucks it behind him like, moving on. I don't know what about that made me laugh, but that was so funny. He's just like, just keep going. He's killing people over here, so these people can run right by him. Like, they just totally panicked and had no clue what to do. It was just a lot of blood, a lot of...
I gotta keep recording, so I'm just gonna stand here.
The one girl literally was like trying to like hide with the phone and like, which I could see like someone doing that now because our phone's live now. So hold on, I don't want you to have my bank statement here. Hold on, you can't have my phone. Kill me, but not my phone.
Or I don't want you to find my nude pictures that I haven't sent to my boyfriend yet.
No, that would have been with Leatherface. You know, he hasn't seen anything in a while. You know, he's like, he sees his phone and ooh, pulls the mask. Hey, that'd have been a different movie. Yeah, but then the two sisters are left, and of course, which I do like the fact that they're not thinking about being quiet, because most people let's be quiet, and the killer still finds them. No, they're panicking, trying to get out this vent at the top of the bus, and of course he sees them. Now this chainsaw went through a metal pipe, a whole floor, easily like butter, which I've never seen a chain. I don't think a chainsaw could go through. So I'm assuming it's old orphanage, old wood, a metal pipe, bones, flesh, blood. Now you got a little plastic door to a bathroom. And you're gonna hide in there like it's gonna stop them, but
that was another thing I see people complain about. How can this 50-year-old chainsaw still work? Well, when he first digs it out of the wall and he walks away into the other room, if you have subtitles on or actually listening real carefully, you can hear him working on it. So obviously he knew how to fix the chainsaw. Now, whether or not he still had 50-year-old gas in it still, that's another question. But still.
Well, he had trouble starting it.
Yes.
He did try to start it. I don't know if he put more gas in or whatever, but I have to go back and watch I haven't had time to go back and compare footage. Is that the actual chainsaw from the first one?
I don't think
Or is it just close enough? It's just
close enough.
That people are like, oh, it's because it's supposed to be original chainsaw.
Yeah.
Or, then again, he had so many chainsaws that it could be a chainsaw, so...
Yeah.
Whatever chainsaw they found with at the end of the movie, if the cops coming after him, she got him and saved him. Whatever chainsaw he's holding at the end of the 1974 version better be the same one they used, but I have not been comparing footage. Because if one's like one color than this one, I'll be really mad. It's going to take the movie down a notch. But yeah, I just... good kills, good movies. I mean, of course, the girls try to get away. The battle at the end, what do you think about that? I mean...
I thought that there was a few parts of it that was kind of hokey. Like,
that's a horror movie.
Well, I know, but especially when Lila's going for the shotgun and he like fires the chainsaw off and he throws it at her and supposedly it hits her. I'm like, so, and then it didn't cut her or nothing.
I think they meant that the back part hit her and just tripped her.
Yeah, I mean, still.
Well, if you let off the chansaw's running, but it's not turning. So, because the blade actually hits her. But it hit her foot and knocked her out from beneath her ankle, but it wasn't spinning to cut. So I had to watch that twice, because that's the first thing I went, okay, why did it go off her foot? But yeah, if you let go of the chainsaw, it's not turning. So I had to think about that too. So when I'm watching these videos, I have to think about all this weird, stupid shit. But yeah, so that's the only thing. But it's very handy for an old, maybe 70 now, to whip a chainsaw. One, I think he throws it. He slides it. He cuts through all this crap. That's a strong son of a gun. But then again, he did break the cop's hand, so I would have messed the guy. I don't know. But yeah, that part. And then, of course, the anti-gun girls actually have to shoot a gun, of course.
Well, she got over her fear.
Well, yeah, you're going to get over your fear when you have a chainsaw.
In horror movies, guns do save your lives, so...
Yeah, in the right hands, they do. Yes, and but yeah, my biggest thing is the end scene. There's one of the places that there's run down has a pool of water. Now I don't know how much water's collected in this house over the years. How deep was that pool of water? Was it like a well under this house or whatever it was they were in? It had to be a well because it was deep. Because him and the girl fall in it. She comes out. It had to be deep for her to get away. So I was like, okay, it's got to be a well or something that was under the house. And just rainwater in a pool, a sinkhole. I was trying to come up with the reason why, how deep is this damn hole? Because it's that deep when the whole house kind of like collapsed into it.
I mean, you'd think.
I don't know. Can Leatherface swim? Because the girl got away. And then at the end, when he falls back in the water, I mean, he's dead, right? I mean, it's a horror movie, right? The guy's dead. They don't come back. Or do they?
Yes, they do.
They do? What happened?
The Lila and Melody, they get in the Tesla and they hit the self-drive to go home, and as the car starts...
Well, they hit the sunroof first.
Yeah, they open the sunroof first.
Which makes no freaking sense. You're going to get the hell out of town. You're going to go. They're like, well, let me program air conditioning 72 for you. Yeah. 65, okay, 65 for me, sunroof open.
So the car starts taking off, and Leatherface breaks the passenger side window out and grabs Melody. And as the car's driving away, cuts her head off with a chainsaw and does his little dance like he did in the
As
original.
the sister's coming out of the sunroof, like, go, no!
No!
As the car's slowly driving away.
Yeah.
If the car's driving so slow, self-driving so slow, as crippled and mangled as Leatherface was, he could ran into the car and just got her.
Yeah.
Because the Tesla was driving so slow. It was so bad. Like, Leatherface could have got her if he wanted to. But none of that bothered me because every horror movie has cheesy stuff. You don't need a script. You just need a semblance of a plot in a horror movie, a lot of good killing, some TNA with some cute girls, and that's about it. Now, unfortunately, there's no TNA in this movie, which I was fine with. I was fine. You bring in the newer generation with an older generation. A lot of good killing. We've a lot of reviews. Either they love it or hate it. A lot of people don't like the Sally character bringing her back. Or Sally Strodes, or Lori, what's Sally's last name?
Hardesty.
Yeah, or Lori Hardesty, or whatever you want to call them. But Sally, I had no problem with her. Either way, didn't have her. Didn't care if you had her. Either way, didn't matter. I kind of liked the movie. I was surprised. I really thought it was going to suck. Because a lot of the remakes have not been that great. The thing is that the old school, you complain if it's the same old remake. If they did the same thing, oh, they just did the same thing. If you make it new, oh, well, it's not the same thing. You can't win no matter what you do. So trying to make it new enough for the new generations to keep it going, and the old generation is really hard to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why we did this channel, because we want to keep the horror movie genre, especially the 80s, alive, because those movies are so great, and they're trying to bring them back. So you can't bring them back unless you have modern times in it. So stick how you will, love it, hate it, but this was probably my, I would say, third favorite out of all the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. 1, 2, and then this one. You like 3.
So what would you give it as a rating?
Well, rating for this one, I mean, I was debating 4 blood drops, but I think that, I really enjoyed it. The kills were really good. I actually really enjoyed it. I'm going to have to give it 4 blood drops out of 5.
So for me, it had everything that I wanted in a slasher movie. It had great kills. It had characters that you love to hate.
Yeah.
For me, this is kind of, I wouldn't say it's not the greatest Texas Chainsaw movie, and it sure is not the worst. The Next Generation is by far the worst. I liked it. I'd give it a 4 out of 5 blood drops for me.
So both of us 4 out of 5 blood drops.
And if I had to give it in my ranking, I'd probably middle of the road out of the 9. It'd probably be my 4th or 5th favorite. I'd probably have to go back and watch all the other ones. I do know that The Next Generation would be dead last for sure. So
yeah, it wasn't that good.
Yeah.
So until next time,
stay bloody.